the UK military has been engaged in a number of different types of operations and quite a high tempo of operations too. One might expect that there will be at least a similar level of demands placed on the military over the next year or so. And so really the question has to be, at a time of decreased resources and where the Ministry of Defence has been targeted for some quite large cuts over the next 5 to 10 years, that we have to have a debate about what kind of force the UK wants to have and how prepared we are to resource that particular force. We tend to focus a lot when looking at strategic defence and security review on the equipment that the military will use, but actually this year, or this time round, it's likely to be manpower that is the critical ground. It's the one area that the Ministry of Defence can use to cut, but equally at the same time there are critical shortages already in the Royal Air Force and the Royal Navy. Look ahead to the carrier, there are some serious questions about whether or not the Navy can resource that from a manpower point of view, and the Royal Air Force is also seeing some quite drastic shortages in the combat air fleet. We're faced with a dichotomy. We can't continue to have as many people because we just don't have the resources. We've got to cut somewhere, but at the same time we are going to undermine our national capability by doing so. So there are a couple of options. One is to go for increased numbers of reserves or contractors, and the problem with this whole force concept that the MOD is trying to embrace really is the fact that in certainly for the regulars and reserves there's a difference in terms of legislation. So it is difficult to move between regulars and reserves. So those leaving the regular forces have to apply for a completely new commission in the reserve forces. Those who are in the reserves have to resign and then apply for a regular commission. So certainly an easy win for the government would be to sort this legislation out. But then I think we have to look more broadly about the resilience of the force and how able it is to ride out the cuts that are proposed, and if it's not able to ride them out, then that needs to be made very clear, and the government has to make choices about the type of armed force that it wants to have in the future.